Hello, Vincent Carroll speaking, tutorial number 58, kidney yang qi deficiency and confidence. I have a patient who's come to me for a number of years, and I know him very well. And about a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, something occurred in his life that pulled the rug from under his confidence. His confidence went down. He found himself at kidney deficient, kidney yang qi deficient. Now, he mightn't have been aware of that at the time, and certainly those people who knew him well were not aware that there was this sense of kidney deficiency, because he was able to cover up for him. And this particular person has particularly good genetics, in other words, pre-heaven essence, that he was able to borrow from, that he was able to dig deep from to keep his show on the road, if you like. But his journey is a very interesting one, and there's a lot of learning in it. And as a person, he developed a kidney yang qi deficiency. He felt a bit colder. He was still able to do an awful lot, but he withdrew from doing an awful lot of things, of extra things that he used to, particularly extra things involving a lot of other people. So he found himself concentrating on his core business, on his core issues. And in that, he succeeded in keeping that, I suppose, show on the road relatively successfully. But it was at the expense of a lot of other things that he used to. I suppose maybe he wasn't aware, or failed to admit to himself, that in fact there was some, I suppose, subtraction from his life to a substantial extent. And in the language of acupuncture, we would consider that to be a kidney deficiency. There was a sense, perhaps a mild sense of shock, a paralysis that prevented him doing a lot of things that he used to. And that's a sure sign of a kidney deficiency. And the big question is, of course, is it a kidney yin or is it a kidney yang? And where is he now? And that's the very interesting thing. In his particular case, it was more a kidney yang deficiency. I suppose a sense maybe of a lack of motivation, or an inability to get the motivation together. He knew what he liked doing, he knew what he wanted to do, but to actually achieve it was something that he found a bit of difficulty around getting it sorted. And it wasn't a kidney yin deficiency, because anything he did was done efficiently. The problem was there was a lot less being done. So that's a sign of a kidney yang qi deficiency rather than a kidney yin qi deficiency. In his particular case, life has continued on to some extent or other, and he has compensated in many ways, probably by digging in to his kidney, to, I suppose, his pre-heaven essence down to kidney level. But he was somebody who was fortunate enough to have an abundance of that anyway, so the well was deep, and he was able to dig down there, and that compensated hugely. And slowly but surely things got going again. But the interesting thing is, one thing didn't get going again, and that's what I want to share with you, because it's been a learning experience for me as well. This person often says that they lack certainty. They used to be very, very certain about things. They were confident that they were right about what they were saying and what they were doing. And now they are much less confident about that. It's as if, and this is the language used by the person, it's as if that they will never be certain about anything again, that their certainty has deserted them. And I believe certainty and kidney are connected together, are very much connected together. So the certainty is a sense of, I suppose, confidence. We must distinguish it from arrogance. This was not an arrogant individual. This was somebody, though, who believed in what they were doing, and they believed they were right in what they were doing. So they had a sense of certainty, but that certainty is not there anymore. And I think deep down, certainty is something very much associated with kidney energies. A lot of kidney energies can recover. A lot of motivation can come back, a lot of wake-up energy in the morning, a lot of, I suppose, working late at night and still having a reservoir of energy. All that can come, and that's really the spleen-kidney axis. And where the spleen ends and the kidney begins, that's always, nobody knows for certain anyway. because there's a considerable overlap. The person who's completely spleen G deficient is probably heading down a little bit of the kidney route as well, and the person who's mildly kidney deficient might be dismissed as somebody perhaps just at spleen level. So there is an element of overlap, and it's difficult to distinguish where one begins and the other ends. And the question we always ask is, are you motivated? Because motivation, but so many people are dragged along by their diary, they're on automatic pilot, to suggest that you know they're motivated as opposed to have no choice but to do it. Those are two separate considerations, and they're difficult to know. But in future, I'm going to ask people about certainty, because I feel that's a word that's never used from a Western medical point of view, and it's almost never used conversationally either. And when it is, it often has negative connotations. It's as if somebody perhaps is arrogant about something. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a belief in oneself, a belief that one is doing what is right, a belief that one is right in one's decision making. They'll still make decisions, but that certainty is something I believe that is down at kidney level, and I believe it's something that's hugely neglected, totally neglected within the Western medical world, but also within our own acupuncture world. I believe that's a word that is neglected as well. So I think if anybody is if you believe they're down at kidney level to a greater or lesser extent, let's use the word certainty. Ask that person, how certain are they compared to how certain they used to be? And if they let you know that they'll never be certain again about things, then it is a kidney issue and it probably does need a remedy. My observations. Thank you very much indeed.